Hello, and welcome to the Power of You.
Yeah,
We are powerfully you'd,
we something like that. We are powerfully. That's Blaine Bartlett.
and that's Doland White.
Yeah, still.
Yes, we have not changed our identities in the last week since you saw
Yeah.
us last.
Or the last 2 hours since haven't seen each other for almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, there you go. That too. What are we talking about today? I feel some tension in the air.
Yeah, I've been tense all day. Tense, very tense, tense. Today we're talking about tension. One of the things that leaders are going to face is those tension conversations where we can misappropriate our understanding of what to do, how to do it. So today we're talking about tension
Tension.
because it's going to happen. The moment, what is it that we talk about? The company was perfect until we put people in it.
Yeah. On paper, this thing looks so sweet. Who screwed this up? Oh,
Yep. Oh,
oh,
we put people in it.
they are squirrely.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Technical term, squirrely.
That's right. Very technical. So yeah, today is tension. This is we've kind of been on this bend about communication now for a little while.
So what
partly because we're spending 3 months, we're spending an inordinate amount of time in our mastermind on communication. We kind of go, hey, yeah, I know what we can talk about.
Yeah, 3 months. 3 months
right.
spending on communication in its various guises. So when we run into things going off the rail, or when things go off the rail and they run into us, what are some of the biggest mistakes that we can make as leaders? Because we want to get it back on the rail as fast as we can.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's the big four. Well, at least four of the 2,000 kind of mistakes that you could possibly make. But yeah, you delay difficult conversations until performance has already declined. That's that. Maybe if I don't look at it, it'll go away.
The image that comes to mind is an ostrich with its head in the sand.
Yeah.
That's sort of the thing here. Yeah. If we don't talk about it, it's not a problem, is it?
Exactly. It'll resolve. I remember, I can think of many times in my career where I've had somebody that I reported to or work with that said, yeah, you know what? It'll go away.
It'll go. This will resolve itself. Yeah, just
right.
Give it some time.
Yeah.
Now there is room for that strategy at some point in time. Doing less sometimes is what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you've got some telltales here that say, yeah, and the telltale here has to do with, is this chronic or acute? In the sense of, is this kind of a one-time thing that's showing up, or is it chronic?
Right.
If it's a one-time thing showing up, give it some space.
Yes.
But
yes, like a good bottle of wine, let it breathe.
Exactly. Let it breathe. Let it breathe.
Thank you for your support.
So but if you call the ball and you go, okay, well, got to step into this. The next big mistake that gets made is, I don't want to hurt their feelings, because if they get upset with me, then I'm going to have a problem.
Right.
So how do I position this?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of good news about that question. At least you're considering some things, but you don't want to soften the message so much that the issue is never addressed.
Yeah.
We love you. We mean it. And you might want to think about possibly one day in the future not going into the way that you did. And it's kind of like, huh?
What are we talking about?
You talking about again? It was a good conversation. Thank you. I think I'll have a cigarette now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this went well. Really well. Yep. You make the conversation personal instead of behavioral. That's one of the. Well, there's a slide about this in a little bit in here too, a little bit. But you come at the person, you come at them.
Yep.
Rather than the topic of the conversation.
And it linguistically shows up like blame. You did this. You should have known better. There's a lot of shoulds, a lot of you-ness, a lot of, if all of those sorts of things where it becomes
Oh
personal.
yeah.
Yeah, and when people feel as if they're under attack or they're being critiqued
Oh
or
yeah.
criticized or shamed, guaranteed defensive walls are going to go up.
100%.
And
It is.
once the walls go up, it's
It
a
is.
real difficult job getting them back down to where you can even see if there's a person in there anymore.
Yeah, it is gonna happen. It definitely gonna happen. Yeah, because now you're talking to me about me.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And you think you know me? No, you don't.
Yeah,
Because I can
exactly.
explain exactly why I did what I did, which gets you actually off the hook there if you can actually talk about the behavior.
Right.
Tell me more about why, how this behavior came into this conversation or into this dynamic. Tell me more about that behavior. You know, that's a
Yeah.
different kind of a question than you screwed up here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's very, very much so. Very much so. Which takes us down to that last one. We're
Yep.
gonna avoid, yeah, we're gonna avoid tension to preserve relationships, and that is the first bullet is to hope it goes away. The second is I'm just gonna avoid it all because we just I don't want to hurt your feelings.
So, yeah, I used to do a fair amount of counseling, back in my youth before I knew anything. I was counseling. But the idea here is to avoid tension to preserve the relationship. It's got, yeah, I value this relationship so much that I don't want to blow it up.
Right.
And when we're talking about this in the context of leadership, that fourth mistake is all about self-trust.
Yes.
Do I trust myself to handle the consequence of being direct, honest, and open? Do I
Yeah.
trust myself to handle the consequence of being vulnerable? If there's some blowback, do I trust myself to be able to handle that blowback? So that fourth mistake always comes back to self-trust.
Yes. Yeah. That is about
Yep.
not about you. That's a me problem.
Yep.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
these four mistakes show up in some really specific ways in an organization, and they're symptomatic. I mean, if we look at this as, this is kind of cause, this is effect.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because as a leader, you're not going to be involved in every tough conversation.
No.
You're not going to be you're not it doesn't say on the outside of your door, tough conversations happen here. It doesn't say that placard. They happen throughout the body. They're leaf. We talk about decisions, right? As
Yep.
leaves. Same thing with conversations. There's leaf conversations going on all the time. And so the symptoms, leaders, is you smell these in your organization. One, I like the first one, right? The issue keeps resurfacing after we've already discussed it. And
Yep.
we've talked about this symptom kind of from other contexts before. But in this context, it is that, hey, I thought we already talked about this.
Yep.
And it keeps coming up, which means you actually haven't talked about it.
Yeah, you haven't talked about it. If it keeps coming up, somebody didn't get the message.
Yes. Yes. Which means they probably didn't get the message.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So people keep bringing decisions back to me. This one gets to be interesting, and it's, we've referenced this before in a couple of other powers of you.
Yeah.
But HBR, Harvard Business Review, published an article back in the 70s, I think it was, "Who's Got the Monkey?"
Yeah.
And essentially what this is a reflection of what you've trained your people to do. People give you what they perceive you're willing to settle for.
Mhm.
And if you have trained them, quote unquote, trained them, we're always in the process of training people how to interact with us, always.
Right.
And if you've set in place standards that say I'm the decision maker, I'm the boss, don't make a move without checking with me first, you're going to get people continuously bringing you decisions that you thought were theirs to make.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, you taught them to do that.
Yep. So you feel the tension because how come they keep bringing that to me? Well, let's take a look at the process. This
Right.
is effect. The cause is something other than what you're dealing with.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
where emotional intelligence comes into play.
Oh, right. Yeah. EQ starts showing up. Those mysterious 2 letters that come up on the horizon every now and then.
Mhm.
The number 3, high performers are frustrated while low performers remain comfortable, which is always which is interesting because that in organizations I've been in, the conversations occur, Blaine, kind of it's predicated with a couple words. How come Andy?
Yep.
How come
Market.
Winona? How come that to bring my friends into the conversation? But how come blah 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 gets away with that? Kids do that too, right?
Oh yeah.
None of my 5 sons ever did that, but anyway. But the high performers, it's frustrating because to your point, the high performer is performing because of who they are. They're already performing above what you would expect them to do, right? Because they only rise to the level of expectations you set for them. So they're already performing beyond that. Why? How come? How come this? How come? And that tension that lives in that, and particularly around that difficult conversation around performance.
And this is where, the presence of tension can give you some fascinating clues about the cultural dynamic in your organization.
Oh yeah.
What do we settle for here? Yeah.
Yep.
That's, tension is really good news in one sense. And we're using tension here, not conflict. We're using tension. It's kind of where you feel
Yes.
this kind of,
Very. Thank you for that. Very important differentiation.
yeah. It hasn't degraded or migrated or moved towards a conflicted state, but you're
Right.
feeling the tension in the system. You're feeling the pinch. You're feeling the pinch. And
Yes.
this shows up here. High performers, you start hearing squawks, or you begin to see performance degradation.
Mhm.
What they used to do, they're not doing anymore. And what they're organizing around is the tolerance that you're allowing to exist for low performers doing what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's levels of expectations. People give you what they perceive you're willing to settle for. So from a leadership perspective, again, we're really looking at you as a causal agent here. This isn't about blame or anything else. It's about how are you setting the environment up to produce the results that you're having.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for here. And this final one, you're spending more time managing around someone than leading the team. Yeah. It's if you're not willing to have that hard conversation because you're afraid of your friend getting upset with you, you're going to have
Yeah.
kind of a dynamic going on. Yeah, we'll just manage around them. We'll find we'll get this handled. Yeah, don't worry about Tommy over here. Winona's going to handle it.
It'll be okay. Yeah. It'll be okay. So I'd rather spend all my time dancing around the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Dancing around it. But yeah, those are just leaders. As you hear us talking about this, there are more symptoms. There are many, many, many more symptoms. But the context of this is notice what you're noticing.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware, be in tune, ask questions.
Yep.
Like ask. It goes back to the ask questions. There you go.
And when we position this stuff, when we talk about this stuff, it's oftentimes easy to go to, thinking about the people that report to you as a leader. Yeah, this last one is an interesting one here.
Yeah.
Spending more time managing around someone than leading them. I was working with a CEO a number of years ago. Then the founder had moved onto the chairman's role in the board, and now my client was now the CEO, and the founder chairman still had a voice. And as you can imagine, there's some dynamics here about proprietary. This is the way I used to do it. How come you're doing it that way? All of that kind of stuff. My CEO, the guy that I was working with, was having a lot of difficulty mustering up the ability or not so much the willingness to have a hard conversation that would put the chairman in his place.
Yes.
And
Oh,
he was managing around it, managing over it, managing under it. And I was up sailing in the San Juans, and I got that phone call, and it was on a Saturday afternoon, and my CEO said, "They're moving me out of my office." I said, "What happened?" I said, "I've been fired. The founder is coming back." And
mhm.
that hard conversation was never had. Yeah, and the tension was always there. The tension
Right.
was always there, but it was never addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's a great story because there will be unintended consequences.
The greatest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. I love this quote.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Well, I talked.
We've
We made noise.
we've referred to this a couple of times, but I had to pull it out
Yeah.
again. It's like I had to pull it out. I just love the quote. The greatest problem, is the illusion that it's taken place. It's like
Yep.
with I words were said.
Words were said, noise was made, lips moved.
I asked the key two words. Got it?
Hmm. They nodded their heads.
They had it.
That illusion, which, as a consequence of that, tension.
Oh yeah. Tension is about to happen.
It's
Guaranteed.
a real interesting thing. Yeah, it's a real interesting indicator that communication has not occurred in the way that you think it has. That's one
Yes.
way to kind of decode the tension that you're feeling in your stomach, in your shoulders, in your neck,
Right.
the tightness around your eyes, the squintiness, kind of all of that's tension.
Oh yeah. Yep. Two ships in the night.
Two ships in the night. So the idea here of as leaders, you're always influencing, and this is what's interesting about this particular topic from
Yeah.
my perspective. Tension is an energetic dynamic.
Mhm.
It's contractive, it's tight, and when it's contracted and tight, creativity, innovation, and safety begin to become less important. And what becomes more important is, let's blow something up here because I don't like this feeling any longer.
Right.
And yeah, people will move because one of two things is in place. Either the present circumstance is so uncomfortable, I've got to move. And it really, because of that tension being so uncomfortable,
Right.
it doesn't make any difference which direction I move as long as it's away from that discomfort, away from that tension.
Such a good point.
That movement can actually throw things completely off the rails. The other reason that people will move is because that future state looks so attractive, I can't not go there.
Yes.
Now, ideally, you'll have both of these things in play at the same time, to varying degrees of strength. But you
Right.
want to have a directional structure, that allows for creativity, innovation, and movement in the way that you'd like it to happen. That's what we define as leadership. Movement towards a worthy ideal. Tension is caused when things are not working the way you'd like them to work. So you desire something different. So it's that focus on that something different that is propelled by, let's move from where we are to where we could be, that sort of a thing. And you do that often just by your state of being. That's where influencing comes into play. Influencing other people in order to co-create coordinated movement in pursuit of that ideal. That's what we're looking at here. Leadership is the art of moving possibility into visibility.
Yeah.
When it becomes visible, now it becomes probable. When it becomes probable, now you can leverage it into a reality state.
Right.
That migration is what we're looking at.
Yeah. I just love that. It is that things are always created twice. And but a couple of things I want to go back to in leaders, a couple of things Blaine said I think are really, really important when tension occurs, right? With some movement, leaders cause movement. Let's just agree with that general premise. You're causing movement, right? Coordinated, hopefully you're co-creating coordinated movement, but you're going to cause some kind of movement whether it's command and control or coordinated movement. When tension exists, people move away. When people move away, they take with them the things that are theirs. So they pack their bags. They take their innovation, they take their ideas, they take their progress. All of that stuff goes in the bag, and they hold that little bag and they go, I'm getting on the Greyhound.
I'm out of here.
I'm going to exactly. I'm going to San Jose. See ya. And they go, and off they go. But that's really important, and that's a point I don't want leaders to miss that you talked about, Blaine, was they move towards something. They move away from the pain, take their stuff with them, thinking they're moving towards greener grass. And you stall, innovation dies, and then you wonder why are my results not as good as they were last quarter or last month or yesterday? Well, people took their toys and went someplace else.
Yep.
Whether they left or not.
Yeah, they retired in place. R.I.P. You see it on the tombstone. Retired in place.
That's right.
What's your job? I'm circulating air today.
They don't have to leave the building to do that.
Nope.
They do not. Matter of fact, they probably won't.
Yeah, because you're still going to pay them, and they're not doing what you'd like to have them do.
Exactly. And then scratch your head and wonder what the hell happened.
Yeah.
What?
So as you look at this leadership universe, this is the way that leaders actually effectively work. Yeah. Leaders, to Dolan's point, you're always creating movement. Always creating movement. Most people will focus from a leadership perspective on the vision, the strategy, and the tactics, the why, the what, and the how. We want to be able to tap into this mindset here that prevents people from actually addressing the tension that's present in the system. And it usually is a mindset issue.
Right.
Yeah. And by mindset, we're talking about belief systems, about historical experiences. My whole database of what could go wrong if that sort of stuff. That all is in the mindset. It's in the zeitgeist. It's in the culture of the organization. You want to be able to uncover that, explore it, because when you can begin to explore it, you actually tap into what could be, which is where the spirit of the business, the soul, the aliveness actually exists. And then you start imagining your way into the future. What conversation could I have here? What conversation might unbundle this? What conversation could, those sorts of things. Imagination.
Yeah. The house of innovation.
Yeehaw.
There you go. There you go.
So
and there it is right there.
Right there. That's the definition. For influencing others in order to co-create coordinated movement in pursuit of, and this is the key piece here, worthy ideal.
Yeah.
So you're looking to move, not to get away from the tension, not to get away from the discomfort, but you're looking to move using that tension, that discomfort as an indication that things aren't quite where you'd like them to go. And here's where we'd like to go. So there's a directional thrust to it. And it's organized around what really matters here. What really matters to me? What really matters to you? Okay, you get down to what matters. Now you've got a basis for resolving the tension.
Yes, you do.
You got a target.
Yes, you do. All right, so let's reframe a little bit. One of the things that I had to, it was fun thinking about this content because I was thinking about young Doland.
Well, you went way back in time, huh?
Young Doland. Well, I'm still young, but I mean that other guy, right? The guy that had black hair and other stuff. But it's interesting because when you think about it from a reframing, right? Leaders think avoiding tension preserves relationships, and we talked about that from four symptoms, the symptoms, and the four mistakes. And the reality of that reframe is that reality is that avoiding tension damages relationships. And there is I think a lot of leaders, and particularly young leaders, people emerging into a leadership role or a manager role. Let's call it a manager role. It's easy to lose track of that. I know I did. It was a dynamic that I lost track of. The fact that I'm here, I want us all, can we all just get along?
Yeah.
Can we just get along? I sing harmony. Let's get along.
We'll do two
Yeah, I can do 2-part. I can do 2 or 3-part. That depends how many tracks we got. But the reality is that, and this is, by the way, leaders, is when you go home tonight, to whoever you're going home to, except for your dog. Well, your dog maybe, but whoever you're going home to, avoiding that tension damages relationships. Now, there's a way to manage this, and we'll kind of get through this. But as we go down, we'll tag team the bullets. But tension is not the problem. Unspoken tension is.
Mhm. Yep.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. Not being able to give voice to it, label it so that you can actually address it and work with it.
Right.
Which drops right into that second bullet point. Great leaders separate a person's value from a person's behavior. So I'm
Yes.
gonna have a conversation about the tension that I'm experiencing right now, but I want to be sure that it's organized around what really matters here, which is the behavior. People behave in ways that make perfect sense to them.
Yep.
They behave in ways that make perfect sense to them. So if you start blaming them for how they're behaving, they start to feel wrong because to them it made perfect sense. And you're telling me that my sense making apparatus is broken?
Right.
I'm not going to like that conversation. But if you talk to me about, hey, this behavior, can we talk about how this came into play with this scenario? We talked about that just a moment ago. The focus is on the behavior and understanding where that behavioral dynamic was originated. What was the assumptions? What were the misunderstandings? What were the, fill in the blank that created that? How I describe something determines how I feel about it. How I feel about it generates my behavior. I want to know how they're describing what's going on because it makes sense to them. It really does.
Yeah.
So that's where we want to be able to move the conversation. As a leader, your job is to continuously find ways to facilitate movement.
Yeah.
And you're going to run into roadblocks all the time. You're going to run into pinch points.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important. Because that's one of the keys. That's one of the most important keys to tension. Separate value from behavior.
Yep.
When we go home, we have an innate need to feel valued. If we don't feel valued,
yeah,
we
going
go
back
find
to the dog. Going
we
back to the
seek
dog.
value somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Which leads to other things. But anyway, difficult conversations are acts of leadership. So this is, and as Blaine was mentioning earlier, this isn't so much a power of view on how to have a difficult conversation.
Right.
Difficult conversations are a part of, they're a component of tension. We can get into difficult conversation. Ping us and we'll tell you about difficult conversations. But difficult conversations are acts of leadership. A leader is willing to have those conversations, not for the sake of criticism.
Yep. This is not a critique. It's not a judgment about what's going on. It's an assessment that is looking for an answer. I want to ground this assessment.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing this. Tell me how this came into being.
Yeah, it's a help me understand conversation.
There you go.
Help me understand. The other, you can't start the conversation. So the intent for our conversation today is you're short and you're overweight, and I have a problem with that, and you have a body odor. So can we talk about the problem now? And then see how far you got with that.
Yeah.
Help me understand.
Help me understand. How did this come
understand? Yeah. But I like number 4. Do number 4. I love number 4.
When you're actually willing to step up and step in to a difficult conversation in a way that is organized around what's working and what's not working, as opposed to what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad.
Oh, so important.
People start to trust that you have not only the interests of the organization in mind, but you also have their well-being in mind, because you're approaching them in a way that allows them to see that there's a possibility beyond what they've seen before. They get to grow. They get to, they get a sense that you've got my back. Even though you're having a conversation with me about this, I feel as if you've got my back here. It's not malicious.
Right.
And that will build trust faster than just about anything you can think of.
Oh, yeah.
And the other part of that is they lose trust when leaders ignore the difficult conversations, because there's no secrets. Everybody knows where things went off the rails. They also know who the players are. They didn't need a program to figure out.
I'm sorry. I laugh because those conversations always start now. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
No, don't tell anybody. But
We'll have this in private. We'll go offline
right.
with this.
This is a private conversation, right?
Yeah.
Let's go off the record. Okay, perfect.
No secrets. There are no secrets.
No.
People know.
That's
And you
the
lose
flaw.
trust when people begin to think that you don't have the character, you don't have the courage, you don't have what it takes to address the issues that are undermining our ability to do what we said we wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
That basically comes down to that.
There you go.
And you're dead in the water at that point.
Oh, yeah. And sinking.
And sinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
go ahead. Well,
yeah.
go. You start.
Yeah, no, yeah. So
Well,
there's
rehearse. Don't try this at home.
No, you go. No, after you say.
No, you go.
So there's a reframe that takes place, and if you do that reframe effectively, you've got a different mindset in place. And you go back to that leadership universe.
Yeah.
Mindset is what we're looking at here. Part of the mindset in being able to effectively work with tension. You're not going to eliminate it. You're going to work with it effectively.
Right.
How can I value somebody deeply while challenging their behavior directly? The answer to that question is I can. I can do that. That's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about, oh my God, it's going to blow up in my face. What am I going to do? No, I got this. I can have that challenging conversation and I can challenge their behavior directly. And we can both come out of this feeling whole.
Yeah.
And we got a problem solved.
Right. And we've moved forward. And our relationship is deeper.
Yep.
Because we cemented some trust. We filled some cracks in trust that we didn't know about. It's number 2, right? If an issue keeps returning, clarity or ownership is missing. So it's the same sort of thing, leaders, when you see that symptom that we talked about, things keep coming back to me. That's that moment from a mindset perspective. Notice that it keeps coming back, but also be aware of clarity and ownership. There are components missing. That's why things are coming back, which gives you that, what weren't we clear about?
Yeah.
Who owns it? And if I'm not clear on who owns it, they're not clear on who owns it.
Spot on. You made a kind of a drive-by comment earlier when we were on one of the previous slides here. I told them and they said, you got it? And they went, uh-huh. Uh-huh is not an answer. Uh-huh is a sound. No. Did you get it? Yes, I got it. Great. Tell me what you got. That's where you start getting into
thank you for that.
Ownership.
Yes.
Clarity, ownership. I guess. Those are not ways that people can organize around. Well, you said you were going to. No, I never really did.
Oh,
I may have implied it, but I didn't certainly say it. There's no commitment here.
Yeah. And thank you for that. Because that's, leaders, as you listen to this, that's a 10-pound gold nugget from Blaine that we talk about with our clients in the work that we do. And that is the clarity. Ask the question, what do you got? And then shut your mouth.
Yep.
Stop. Let them get all the way to the end. Get clarity. Because a lot of times we delegate and we stop at the and things are done. I'm done. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, they grunted. Okay. I'm going to the bank with that grunt.
That's right. Toodaloo. Exactly. Toodaloo. All right. And avoiding discomfort creates, you're going to create greater pain tomorrow. So one of the things about tension that I think leaders miss sometimes, Blaine, is tension is a multiplier.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, tension's a multiplier. And it multiplies gravity from a negative perspective. And that gravity slows things down. Because you're not at 1, you're at 1.52, whatever gravity happens to be, right? I forget what they call it when you're flying a fighter jet, but when you're the pushes you,
The G-force.
yeah, G-forces, right? You want the G-forces to move you forward. You don't want them to drag you down.
Yeah.
And avoiding discomfort today creates greater pain tomorrow, and that greater pain tomorrow creates a negative gravity, which slows you down. So it's regardless of, it should be it's a core tenet that where discomfort is, and it's appropriate, address it immediately.
Spot on. And partly here, goes right directly into number 4 here.
Yeah.
My responsibility as a leader is to be sure that my people are growing. And if my people are growing, my organization's growing. As soon as anybody becomes comfortable, they have stopped growing.
Right.
So the mindset here is comfort is not my friend. Comfort is not my friend. The status quo. This is where the sacred cows in the organization come into play. This is where the chickens come into roost. I mean, all of these
Right.
metaphors and euphemisms. My role as a leader is growth,
Right.
causing movement in pursuit of a worthy ideal. That worthy ideal doesn't exist today. I'm going to have to learn how to get there. I'm going to learn how to be in order to have it. All of that requires growth. Growth is uncomfortable. My grandmother talked about growing pains when I was a kid. I experienced them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hurt. It was
Yeah.
going, why do my legs hurt?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
you're growing. Yeah.
I smile with that because I have grandkids in that mode now.
Oh yeah.
I'm growing. And I'm the typical grandpa. Quit eating food.
Quit eating food. Exactly.
It's the food. If you didn't have food, you wouldn't grow. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I love that, but I love the mindset because that is back to reality and away from my grandkids. But it is to your point. It is that reframe. What's the meaning? Reframing is the meaning, and then what is the mindset around this? And the mindset is there's more to the mindset from a tension perspective. There's a lot of things we could reach out to us, and we'll give you other points to go study. Or we're happy to talk with you about tension. But the mindset, that key to setting your mindset. I can value someone deeply and have a behavior conversation. It doesn't change my value of them.
No.
It doesn't. Clarity and ownership are missing. If stuff keeps coming back, I almost said something else, but it's only Tuesday. If stuff keeps coming back, clarity and ownership. If I avoid discomfort, it's going to multiply. My job is not to keep people comfortable. I always call it, I've talked about that before. You take a rubber band and you go like this, you get the striations.
Yep.
That's your job. Take it to the lines. And then candor, without care, you got to understand, right? Go buy a book on radical candor.
Yep.
Or go 7-minute video on YouTube. Search for radical candor and go watch the 7-minute video. You'll be a master after 7 minutes. Shouldn't be a problem. So
the way that's worded, candor without care destroys trust. Care without candor destroys performance. Going back up to clarity and ownership. There's a reciprocity that kind of comes into play here. In the mastermind, we mentioned earlier that we're spending 3 months literally on this whole notion of mastering communication.
Yeah.
Communication mastery. One of the ways that we're addressing communication is from an understanding that communication with human beings is not a logical process. It's a biological process.
Yeah.
So candor and care, they go hand in hand. The care is the biology of it. And if people feel as if they were considered, they're going to hear the words that you're offering in a different way. Right. If they don't feel as if they're safe in this conversation, they're not going to hear a word that you're saying in the way that you intend it to be heard. So that's what we're looking at doing here.
Yeah.
Candor without care. Hey, mind if I give you some feedback? You have to. Let me get my armor on.
I know. I'm still waiting for that person that says, yes, I mind.
I mind. You're not qualified to give me you're not qualified to give me feedback in this area.
Right.
Now, you can tell me your opinion. That's a different thing entirely, and I'm free to discount that.
Yeah. How many times in your career did we hear, mind if I give you some feedback?
Oh,
Oh,
one more time with feeling.
yeah,
I
exactly.
remember I was in an organization, and we would have once a month we'd fly everybody in. Not everybody, it wasn't on all hands, but the senior leadership group
Sure.
would get together once a month in San Rafael, up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and it was a feedback session basically. And this thing just got to be, oh God, people did not like going to this meeting. Myself and a couple of other folks decided, well, okay, we want to make a point. So we actually went to a costume store and we got suits of armor and shields. And we walked into the meeting with suits of armor on and a shield. We're ready for the feedback.
Bring it. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. The CEO didn't think it was as funny as we thought it was.
No. Yeah, I could see that too.
Another story entirely. How to win friends and influence people.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, learning lessons, opportunity.
Oh yeah.
All right, governing behaviors. So what do you do? What do you do? And we've talked about some of these. So this is a pretty quick slide, I think, for us. But address concerns within days, not months.
Yep.
So and I loved your point earlier, Blaine, around as a leader, notice what you're noticing. And one of the things through that part of notice what you're noticing is this a one-time thing or is this a recurring thing?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a one-time thing, be aware. If it's a recurring thing, address concerns within days, not months.
Yep.
If that one-time thing that you are aware of, you see it then shift to continuing, now move it to action.
Yep.
But that's so important about just address the concerns. A leader addresses those concerns. And by the way, I can never think of a single time as a leader I was comfortable doing that.
No, I mean, there's a human being on the other side of this conversation.
Yeah.
So, which goes directly into that second line there. Begin conversations with observed facts, not assumptions or opinions.
Oh,
Keep the emotional state relatively neutral to the degree that you're able to do that. Okay.
yes.
But you have to be able to ground your assessment, to ground your statement in evidence, and ask for clarifying information. This is the assumption I've made based on this observation. Tell me where I'm off base. Is this assumption valid given what it is that we're describing here? Those sorts of questions are disarming.
Yeah. Approach it with that. And I love that. There's, and leaders just use it. When one of the things we talk about in the communication section of the mastermind is words and the power of words. So when you start the conversation with, I think, I feel, I suspect, I guess, I assume, you instantly go right down the vein of emotions. Now I'm coming right at you with an emotion.
Yep.
And if you start it off easily by just saying, hey, look, the intent for our conversation today is to gain an understanding of, and go to what it is that you're doing, and use that. You write that sentence down. The intent for our conversation today is to gain an understanding of this thing, and avoid those assumptive emotional words. And that hooks into the reason why it came to mind is that I just overrode number 3, which is describe the behavior, its impact, and expected change. That's really where you're going. The intent for the conversation is to let's talk about. You may not want to start it as formal. It may be somebody that you already have a great relationship with, and you can say, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you about.
Yep.
And then the impact of it. And expected change has to occur throughout the body of the conversation. It's that in sales, it's asking for the deal.
Yeah. And it's interesting. You can take this formula, if you will, impact, the behavior, the impact, and the expected change as a diagnostic, or you can actually use it as a prescriptive.
Great.
Here's the behavior that I would like us to see. here's the impact that I would anticipate that behavior having, and here's what would likely be the consequence of that if we did that well. So you can use it as a diagnostic. You can also use it as a prescriptive. So
very much.
It works on both sides.
Yeah, very, very much so. That's very cool. And then I like the last one. When you have when you're having any kind of a conversation around tension, and it's not the body of the difficult conversation, any conversation around tension, you got to be explicit.
Yeah.
You can't say, hey, okay, well, let's talk about it, in 2 weeks. And let's get back together on Friday at 4:00 for 20 minutes. And have that conversation so that two things happen. One is it cements trust because you build accountability to and with each other, because you're moving. Accountability is one or more people coming to a mutual agreement to move towards a common outcome. You create that body of accountability there so that you're both moving towards that common outcome, and a common outcome has to be measured explicitly. There's no such thing as an implicit outcome.
No. Nope.
Which I try getting away with that in my house sometimes, and that
doesn't work. Doesn't work.
No.
Outcomes exist in time and space, so there's a follow-up date that comes into play, and it happens with people. So there are owners that are involved in this.
Yes.
So these elements are important to drop into here. This conversation has to end with this. Here's what we talked about. Here's what we decided. Here's who's involved in it, in implementing it. And here's when we're going to do our follow-up check-in. How's it working? Do we need anything else? Has anything changed that I need to know about, that we need to know about? All that stuff.
It reminds me when I used to teach way back in the old days, used to fly all over the world, teaching what we would call professionalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Granted, I was teaching soft skills. Well, that's not important.
Especially in an engineering environment.
As an engineer teaching soft skills, which is what I was. But it's interesting. I used to make it really simple for people and tell them, treat it like you would your child. With a child, when a child is going to be in trouble, per se, let's call it something has happened and there's a correction that occurs. The very first thing you do is you tell them you love them. Then you tell them what happened and what's going to happen. And then you close with, and I love you. It's a 3-part conversation.
Yep.
And so if you can remember that, there's all these other pieces in here, but to master it from the beginning without the complexities, just think of those 3 parts. I care. Here are the facts. Here's what we're going to do. And I care.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Not rocket science.
No. Well, it's really hard, and only you and I can teach it.
That's true. I take that back. And you're going to pay us a lot of money to teach it to you.
Exactly.
Why this matters. Difficult conversations accelerate decision speed because issues are surfaced early. Tension, go right back to the very beginning, when we open this thing up. It's a contractive energy. There's an experience of I'm not safe. That's constricting. I mean, all of that stuff. So what you're doing is you're inhibiting motion. Difficult conversations open things up. And it actually, as a consequence, accelerates decision speed because issues are surfaced. Mm-hmm. And they don't fester. They don't build. And if we're looking at it through the lens of elegance, if things start to build, all of a sudden there's an explosion and you got a mess you got to clean up. An elegant leader minimizes the likelihood of big messes.
That is so spot on. And then teams trust you. Bottom line is they trust you. Because you do things, you're willing to stand tall and address a problem. And you do it in a consistent manner, not in an ad hoc manner. Consistent manner is another power of you. And you do it fairly.
Yeah.
You do it in a manner where there's no higher, no lower, no up, down, no, it's fairly. I do it consistently and I do it in a fair manner. And your team It's like, I love your comment earlier, Blaine, to go back a little bit around, there are no secrets,
Right.
right? This is a positive secret. The positive secret that comes from this is they see that, your team sees that, and that permeates throughout the body of your organization. There is a thinking stuff.
There is thinking stuff. Wallace,
permeates.
When we need you.
Yes. So it permeates through the body of your, to quote our friend Waddles, but it does permeate through the organization.
And what's interesting here also, when it's doing that permeating, make a word up, it's permeating. Yeah, clear expectations reduce rework. Now, what's really fascinating about reducing rework, confusion, and repeated mistakes is we always seem to find the time to do it over again. If you set the clear expectations, for those of you, tension sometimes comes into play when you don't feel like you got enough time, and you don't have enough time because you got to go back and do stuff over again because people dropped the ball because they were confused. Yeah, or they made that same mistake one more time because they weren't clear about they can't do that.
Right.
So you always have time to redo it, which consumes resources, which fill in the blanks. So clear expectations are your friend when you're looking to how do I reduce tension in the system? Not conflict. Again, don't confuse tension and conflict. Conflict is going to happen when people start bumping heads and trying to clarify. You're going to get conflict when clarification is trying to come into play here. What do you mean by that? I thought you, no, clarify. Ah, that's what you meant. Now we can move. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Which, to your point, Blaine, hooks into that last bullet. Your organization is going to scale when accountability exists beyond the leader. And we talked about that mutual agreement between two or more people for a common outcome. You can't get to scale, right? There's growth and scale. We've got a whole series on scale, by the way, in Power of You. Go look in our library and look at the series on scale. Speaking of, but as organizations scale, you can't get there without the ability to deliver, to manage with tension and create the accountability that is an outcome of leading tension.
Yep.
If you can lead through tension and create accountability, you will accelerate scale, and that gives you the ability to move forward. If you don't have that, we mentioned it earlier, people will put their toys in their bag and they will go, no, these are my Legos. You get your own.
Take my marbles and go home. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You get your own Legos. I got my Legos. There you go.
So
the big win, give them the big win.
Leadership isn't measured by the absence of tension. It's measured by how elegantly you navigate it. And again, elegance here, we're talking about minimal unintended consequences. Okay, tension can be a great indicator where something, there's a pinch. You want to address it so it doesn't become a bottleneck. Pinches and bottlenecks are two different things.
Right. Yeah, very, very much so.
And this first sentence, leadership is not measured by the absence of tension. You don't want to have tension not be part of the dynamic. It's going to be there because you got people. Go right back to the very beginning. Had a perfect organization, screwed it up when we put people in it. So you're going to get tension because people are squirrely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I saw this slide, Blaine, the first thing I thought of was, there was a period of time, and there still happens to be a period that I think it goes on in organizations where CEOs are measured by boards on whether they can run a company that has no tension.
Yeah.
And it's the inverse that creates success, not the top line of no tension.
Yep.
It's like, how do you create tension and lead through tension?
Yep.
Again,
you want people to be uncomfortable. Your job is not to make people comfortable. Your job is to find ways to help them grow.
No, if people are comfortable, that's a different challenge altogether. So there you go.
Yep. So Doland had mentioned the Power of You library. We have a library. We're bumping 80 episodes, I think, right now. Something like that. So
Yeah,
This
give
is accessible. And how do you access it? Well, we got a very special offer for you. This is how you access this thing. You go to the Soul of Business Experience
right now.
right now.
Click it.
Pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly here.
Click it.
You go there and you're going to be invited to join this Soul of Business Experience.
Yes.
It's a network of leaders whose sole purpose for being together is to grow each other. That's essentially what it's about. Yeah, it's a curated environment. Yeah, Dolan and I facilitate a meeting every Tuesday morning, a Q&A, kind of a coaching sort of a thing. Excuse me. We've got a library of all kinds of resources. We've got videos. We've got, there's just a bunch of stuff there, as well as a forum for people to have conversations and mastermind with each other. So the reason I'm mentioning this, because within this community, you also have access to the Power of You library. That's a $297 offer that's present in that particular networking group. You also have access to another program. It's a $297 value as well. The Secrets to Success, Sustainable Success Toolkit. It's a self-directed little thing that you can take to your team and say, let's look at how we sustain success here. So the way we define sustainable success, developing the capacity to continuously start over. This toolkit is all about how do you position that with your team, with your organization. So both of those are available to you when you come into this community, when you join this network. About $600 worth of value right there, just by coming in. So take advantage of it. It's easy to do. Just scan the QR code or follow the bit.ly URL, and you will find yourself in a place that you will enjoy being.
Come join us. There you go. Come join us. Awesome. Well, great job, Dr. Bartlett.
I think we put another one to bed.
I feel less tense.
I do too, quite frankly.
Time for some caffeine.
I was thinking more of a glass of wine.
Oh, there you go. Oh.
Did he say that out loud?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I'm checking the time.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock somewhere on the planet.
Exactly. Yeah. On the East Coast right now, I could be drinking wine.
You can be drinking wine. There you go. Okay, we're out of here.
Perfect. All right. We're out.